Welcome to Photo Finds. I am your host Kevin, and this week we're going to get started at Downtown Disney, where as you can see a little bit more progress has been made on the Rainforest Cafe rebuild of that volcano out front. Around the corner at Splitsville, you see that the curtain is starting to come down. In fact, by the end of the long weekend, it had come all the way down, and that curvy facade for Splitsville is starting to show its face. The thing is still running pretty far behind schedule. Now this weekend was the Festival of the Masters. If you haven't seen this before, it's at Downtown Disney, and it's an art show at its heart, and it's called the Masters because in order to be here, you had to have won an art show on your own. And so the people who are displaying here at the Masters are themselves winners of art shows. Now, as you can tell from these pictures, also the local residents at Downtown Disney have some food booths set up. So it functioned a little bit as well like a miniature food and wine festival. It coincided with the last weekend of the actual Food and Wine Festival. Many of the Disney artists that you know from the Food and Wine Festival were here to meet and greet as well. And they have these little kids activities set up every so often where the kids can participate instead of just watching idly. These are a couple of Lego displays here. Now we're switching over to the Magic Kingdom, where I'll show you a couple of views of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster, continuing its construction. Over to the former Snow White ride. This has now been marked as the Princess Fairytale Hall. As you can tell, the princesses are in fact in their new look. This is not their old look. They've been slightly revised for the modern era. And there was a bit of a to-do made out of that online, and perhaps you can look up what they would look like when you see their entire bodies. Now, this is a couple of shots from inside Be Our Guest restaurant. The yellow arrows are pointing you to Hidden Mickeys, and the kind of oversized paintings you'll see in the lunchroom, or the room that's open only for lunch. We're switching to Adventureland, where this thing is new, this structure. It's kind of a totem pole with a bristly outside to it. Now there's a couple of elements to this totem pole. As you can see, there are speakers for eyes, and there's screens for eyes and a speaker down here down in the middle. This is obviously not going to be for Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. The screens are too small. It's going to be for something else. Now maybe this skull over here has something to do with what it's going to be for, and then this other post off to the side, which offers a flat surface, really would only really be a flat surface if they were planning to have you put something onto that flat surface. So this is for the unannounced Pirates of the Caribbean game. It hasn't been announced to the public yet, but it will be coming in an overlay of another interactive game into Adventureland. This sign, the Crow's Nest, used to adorn a nearby building, a shack that sold things like film and so forth next to Pecos Bill. What we're looking at, however, is the open-air shop at the exit to Pirates of the Caribbean. So they've moved the sign, while the other one is behind walls, and I don't really know what's happening with that. Switching to something new that you've probably not seen unless you've been in the last couple of weeks at Splash Mountain are these billowy sails, this canvas across the top of the loading zone. Now what apparently happened is a chunk of concrete fell off the mountain, and in order to prevent anyone from getting hurt, they put these up, perhaps while they evaluate their options, or maybe it's planning to be something kind of permanent. It's not too different from what we saw at the Tree of Life earlier in 2012 when a piece of the tree fell down. I'm going to show you a couple of views of Gaylord Palms. This is their Christmas special and their signature Drummer in the Sky that they do at their Christmas special. We're mostly here to see Ice, which opened this past weekend. If you haven't seen Ice before, it's in the convention center area of Gaylord Palms. There's obviously Christmas merchandise for sale as well, but most of it has to do with this ice display itself. Long lines that you're going to pass through because this is a popular exhibit. It costs up to $22 or even $27, depending on what day of the week it is and whether you've pre-bought any tickets. And as you can see, it is themed to Madagascar this year. There's a theme every year. It's themed, in fact, to Happy Madagascar, or Merry Madagascar. So if you know these films, it's not just these four characters, it's them interacting with Santa, shooting Santa out of the sky, etc. You'll see some more of that in a moment. Now, before you go in, you're given these blue overcoats, and you can see some people wearing them over in the corner here. And then you make your way over to the cold zone. Now, the cold zone is 9 degrees cold. So you're going to want closed-toed shoes, long pants definitely, probably something for your head as well, maybe a scarf. And the one thing people forget, but you need to remember, are gloves. You do need gloves with you because your hands are going to freeze. So, as you can see, it's the familiar Madagascar characters. There they are. interacting with Santa. They shoot down his sleigh, and the story is told sort of throughout 5 or 6 different rooms. And as you can see, the rooms are filled with creatures sculpted out of the ice, and often they have food coloring used to dye the ice and make it different colors. The decorations are a combination of ice themselves and props. Now these plants in this case here are props, although this plant is a piece of ice. Lots of ice blocks forming the walls and the beds as well. So all told, it takes 2 million pounds of ice to make this exhibit. A lot of it goes into this room, which is the ice slide room. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 slides this year, as you can see. A couple of scenes of a decoration around the outside, and this is what the slides look like from the top, as well as through the middle of the slide. Now, the same 4 characters are in many of the rooms to be found because they're the main attraction, I guess. So it can be a little difficult to follow the storyline if you don't already know the storyline, but that's not really why people come. They come to ooh and ah over the wonderful artistry that you can see on display here, as well as just kind of experience what 9 Degrees feels like when you're in it for half an hour or an hour, as is commonly takes to go through the entire exhibit and the entire experience. This one kind of reminded me of Furby, so I thought I would just include a picture of it. Now the last scene this year, as in many years, is a nativity scene. It doesn't have anything to do with the Madagascar story, but it's a returning feature from ice. They carve it new every year, of course. And they used just white and white lighting and clear ice for this one to kind of keep the grandeur going, and it feels very different from the rest of the display. Now just outside there is cookie decorating with the Gingy character as a meet and greet, as you can see there, and there's the cookie decorating that you can pay for separately after the ice exhibit. Switching over to Disney Hollywood Studios, and then speaking of nativity scenes, this is the loading dock at the back of the Hollywood Studios Christmas area. It has now been taken over by Santa Goofy, as you can see. There's a meet and greet opportunity here, somewhat long lines actually, and a photo pass cast member. Some of the lights for sale, and then I'll take you through a few of the lights. This canopy is back again this year. It's once again programmed with a lot of different sequences and dances that happen on the canopy itself. It's become something of the star of the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights lately. And it does seem like the lights are in dancing mode very often, very frequently, and so it makes it harder to get pictures like this where all the lights are turned on. Now, in case you're looking for it, the cat is behind me as I take this picture. It is at the entrance to the big city area, but this year the traffic flow is routed, at least on busy days, all the way down to the back over by Lights, Motors, Action, and then you walk your way up towards the front, towards this quote-unquote money shot. These screens were new last year. They provide some video and some additional action. That was to the right of me as I took that last picture, and we're at the end of the street. So that does it for this week. Thank you as always for paying attention. A reminder that as we get closer to the holiday season, we've got 2 books out in the last year, Epcot being one of them. This is the Epcot 30th year, so the Epcot 30th book is an appropriate Christmas choice. Or we also have a Christmas at Walt Disney World book option also available from Amazon. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.